Hello and welcome to the stream, or if you're watching later, welcome to the VOD. We are back with some more great Ace Attorney, and I've been looking forward to this. I know I ended the last stream by saying that, I'll be back in an hour. I ended up just being super tired and deciding I needed to crash. It had been a long day at work. But now, my long day was yesterday. I've had a full night's sleep. I've had a nice lazy morning. I've had a chance to get a bite to eat, and now we are ready to do this fresh. I actually had a really weird dream last night. I've been hanging out on Twitter a lot, interacting with a lot of the VTubers, and I've also been playing a lot of Space Engineers lately. I like creating stuff in survival. Let's go ahead and switch over to the other screen here. We'll come up with some better assets one of these days later, I swear. But I had this weird dream, and a bunch of us were running around in Space Engineers, and we were actually driving around in something we'd made, and I had one of the newer weapons that I had created, and I guess there was, again, it's a dream, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There was like some unwritten rule on the server that you couldn't have certain weapons or do certain things, and I had this weapon and someone saw me with it, and they started something, and it turned into a whole thing, and there was a bunch of destruction and stuff got blown up, and later on it turned out that, like, waking up the next morning and coming on the server, people had figured out what had gone on, and they had all determined that it was my fault. And when I say people, I mean that just some big name VTubers and some people I had run into on Twitter, and there was just a whole bunch of drama going on, and I was trying to do damage control and save my reputation, and just, it was a whole thing. I can barely get into it. I remember the scenes and everything. There was a bunch of stuff that does not look at all like it belongs in Space Engineers. It was more like a world that Space Engineers was based on, sort of thing. It was very, very vivid, and I woke up really worried, like, oh my god, am I going to get kicked out of the community? I've only been doing this for a week, and it was quite the dream. It was quite the dream, and I guess the moral of the story is I've been playing Space Engineers way too much, but that was fun. So hopefully I get to collab with some people on that at some point. We've been talking online about collabing on different things. I've been on certain discords, so we'll see if something starts happening. But yeah, that was my night. How was yours? Anyway, I have very much been chomping at the bit to get back to this game. So looking forward to finishing up this case. Even with my small viewership, I know nobody's going to watch this because, or at least not live, because at the risk of dating this stream, the HoloLive EN Gen 2 girls are debuting today. I don't know what time, but I'm sure that's where all the eyes are going to be. I don't know. We'll see how well they do. I don't think the designs are quite as good as the Gen 1 ones. The Gen 1 designs were a little bit more classic and universal. The Generation 2 ones are a little too anime for what's supposed to be the English branch, in my humble opinion. I think the nature one looks good. The civilization one is kind of okay. The other ones are a little bit but we'll see. We'll see. We have yet to meet them. We have yet to find out what their personalities, their skills and talents are, how the models animate. We'll see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to them as much as anyone else. But in the meantime, enough of that. We are going to get into the real meat and potatoes. We are going to get into the great Ace Attorney. Let's see if this thing is picking up my controller. Oh no, wait, I was playing this with a mouse before, wasn't I? Yeah, I was. This game is a little bit exhausting to stream just because of all the voices. I read way faster than I talk, so this is taking a little bit longer than I'm used to. But you know what? I'm going to stick with it. I want to finish this series. I've committed to it. This is how we're doing it. Even though if it were up to me, I would just binge it in a few days. But let's go through with this. I think the most exhausting voice is Payne, and he's gone after this case anyway, so we'll see what happens after that. Let's finish Trial 1. Let's do this. Hell yeah. Here we go. That typewriter sound, though. Supreme Court of Judicature. I really should have looked up what that word was before so I would know it, but anyway. Oh, and now I have to remember all the other names. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb. Oh, my heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. You were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. All 2 of them, if I'm not mistaken. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it! It's terrifying! If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. I feel like I have bad news for you. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Miss Giselle Brett, a student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I'm sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see anything of it. Turns out my skills of observation suck. I was just on my way to the restaurant myself. Then on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor. And just after I bent down and picked it up, I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me in some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. What? Okay. Oh, fast thinking by the detective. He apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside the dining area. That's probably Mikitoba. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Yep. Professor Mikitoba. Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy, our justice system even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What? What are you saying, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma? Well then. It looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes. You need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind my asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMI, and it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're going up against. the gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I've no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight, right up to the last. Best of luck. Thank you. Now then. I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-san. Sama. I will now bow out of existence. Defendant Naruhodo! Court recess is over. Please make your way back into the courtroom at once. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow before those old fossils know what hit them. Kazuma? What? Thank you, really. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure that I've already been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then. Whoops. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yumi Cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. Something else, I was reminded last time I was playing, I was waiting for the old guy witness to talk in a certain way, and I realized they're not doing it in this version. It was only in the fan version. He used to refer to himself as this one. This one lost a coin. This one was looking for it. This one was under the table. This one deals in artifacts. I notice he's not talking like that now. That's just one little thing I remember about the fan translation. Just something that occurred to me. Anyway. Back here. The court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Ouchi, have you managed to subpoena the witness?
Yes, Your Excellency. Against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government. Yeah, so thanks for that.
Sorry. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about.
It's highly unlikely that the good relationships we've forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation
Founders? Our nation founders. I'm going to assume that's supposed to say flounders.
Yeah, I mean...
Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke.
What do you mean?
A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinion, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is that what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England?
Shut up! Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy! You and your friend know nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures.
That word looked like it was spelled wrong too, but whatever.
I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student, and one who could arguably study harder too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there's one thing I feel very strongly. I didn't do it! A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Yeah, you tell him. Well said, Ryunosuke, despite the wide-eyed look of terror. You little brats! Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, the trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett. Yes, I'm an airplane again. Oh, I'm a crashed airplane. Your Excellency! Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land. Ooh, pardon me while I kiss butt. Tea! Quick! Someone bring English tea. In England, no discussion takes place without tea. Is that true? No idea. So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court? Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I have been working undercover as the head waiter. Yeah, we know about you already. Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first. Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today, you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of. Oh, yeah, I think I did say that, didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Yeah, no kidding. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty. So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please. I'm such a brown nose. Ugh. And I'm going to speak in English, which no one here understands because we're all Japanese. What? Huh? Come again? I'm terribly sorry, dear, but what? Ah, Hosonaga with the culture. Oh, this is interesting. The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. Of course, we're continuing the trend of the prosecution not being able to get the name out of the witness easily. She's a visiting research student, currently enrolled in Yumi University's medical facility. Oh my! What a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. Such a lovely voice, much like my own. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song. As far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yeah, I agree. You'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Oh, so he actually understood her. Good enough. Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Ryunosuke. Yeah, I guess we must know English too, because we're going to be in Britain later in the game. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called the Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct? What if she just straight up says no? Also, doesn't she understand us? She should understand Japanese. She says, yes. Oh, well, that makes it easier. This could take some time. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese? What I just said. Blah de blah blah blah. She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting, when you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the Bureau.
Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Look at this photograph! Every time we do, it makes a reference. Seeing as you were here, so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, and perhaps...
Apparently it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say? Yes. It would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood. Order! Order in the court!
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement. There is no reason to doubt anything she would say.
Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. Are we going to get her witness testimony translated? Hosanaga's going to be doing everything here. No, he is. Wow. Press it! Hold it! I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beefsteak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. I have a feeling that's getting pressed or objected to.
Yes!
Stop saying yes! No! I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all.
Objection! Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard. And look at this snow-white angel. I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court are going to believe.
You're still making the same mistakes, Rinosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn.
Oh, but he's so annoying, aren't I? Yeah, I'm so annoying. Listen to his voice. It just makes me want to punch him.
Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the two witnesses who testified before, and reported back to the Bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last two witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so, on the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there is nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm. I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. I have 15 guns in my hat right now.
Unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is moot.
I have a minigun in this swan right now. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Please don't look in my purse. Those are the witness's own words on the matter.
Oh, that's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it.
Whoa, what kind of game is this? Jeez. Don't think about doing anything rash, Renosuke. I don't want to get the stream demonetized.
But I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day.
Yeah, that confuses me. I don't remember that part about this case. I wonder how that goes. You're right about that, which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart. I almost forgot she gave the testimony. Come on, guys, let's get to it. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yeah, that thing, right, yes. The part where I actually get to talk. A frightful and sorrowful sight. Is it just a 3? Oh no, it's 5. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only, a beefsteak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long after, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. Okay, so there were 5 statements. I only remembered 3. So she's maintaining that you got into an argument with the professor, at the end of which you shot him. Which is an out-and-out, totally unfounded lie. Still, her statement is very compelling. After all, she's an elegant, refined, young, and beautiful gentlewoman from Great Britain. In stark contrast to you, dressed from head to toe in a dull black school uniform.
I'm dressed exactly the same way as you are, except for the flapping red ribbons.
Well, anyway, this is our only chance to expose her testimony as the fiction that it is. If we can't do that, the trial's over. Even you, with your thick skin, must be able to feel the murderous look you're getting from around the room. Only too well.
I feel half dead already. And the fact that I can't see a single inconsistency in her testimony isn't making me feel any better either.
The first thing to do is press her on any of her statements that seem even slightly off to you. So all of them. Do that, and an opening will present itself. I promise you. I gotta prop my microphone up. I forgot I had this thing higher lately. I'm bending over like Quasimodo here. Hang on a sec. That's a little better. I gotta figure out a layout here that works well for streaming. It's one thing to stream in person when I'm doing networking stuff online or seeing clients, but I gotta get this camera to like me so it starts picking up my mouth and crap. Alright, let's do this.
I need to expose the true faces of this exotic foreigner that's hiding behind the mask. That's what I should be aiming for in this cross-examination.
Press all the things. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day.
Yes!
No! After 2 p.m., in fact. That really is quite a late lunch, isn't it?
Objection! You don't keep up with the latest fashion trends in Britain, do you? Late luncheons are en vogue. Isn't that right? As the kids do say.
No.
I got shut down.
A decisive English no has quite a sting to it. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research lab, it seems. So it was apparent a daily occurrence that they would lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, which we can prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why it was so late. Yes, that all makes perfect sense.
Such wonderful logic. What a shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is.
So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? That was a bit of a worthless statement to press, but whatever. As we do. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only. A beefsteak.
Yes!
I love beefsteak. He was unable to eat, you say? And that was because he just had a tooth removed at Hada Clinic, correct? Oh yeah, Hada Clinic. Not Hottie Clinic, Hada Clinic. That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the victim before answering. Was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yes. She'd heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left.
Dear me, what a harrowing experience. To have traveled to a distant island on the far side of the world and to be embroiled in such a tragic incident. Pardon me while I white knight my ass off. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight.
So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all. That's right, other than some carbonated water. Hell yeah, I'm gonna go for that bit of that myself. Just water? Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. They each raised a glass of carbonated water. What do you think, Ryunosuke, about the witness's last statement? I'm going to assume that I have to pick it's very meaningful, because every time this game asks this question, 9 times out of 10 it is. I can't think of a reason why, though. Let's play the game properly here. Let's check out the court record. Where's the medical thing? Oh, I would like to just be able to read it. Anything but water. Okay. There's only one glass. That's probably the meaningful part. Alright, I'm going to say it's meaningful. That last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case. I don't know about that.
Well, how fascinating. Do tell us. What is this profound bearing? That's what I thought. Scrub.
The significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony.
Huh. Well sidestepped, counsel.
It was. Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to the official testimony. Gladly, she says. That was brilliant, Kazuma. I'm going to remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I'd hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Ryunosuke. I ordered a beefsteak for myself, and the professor and I said cheers over a glass of carbonated water. Did that actually change a statement? Whoa, 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 whoa. How do I back up? Do I right? Oh, there we go. Right-clicking backs up. I didn't catch that. I wondered why I kept going over during the previous testimonies. Okay, right-click backs up. Now I know. Okay, pressed it. This changed. Alright, let's just press the new statement.
Yes!
So both you and the professor drank this carbonated water, did you?
Yes, being the waiter, I poured the 2 glasses myself. I clearly remember doing so. Except you're actually a detective. And the beef steak, that was for you, Miss Brett? The lady says that she'd heard it was not customary to eat beef here until Japan opened its doors to the world. Yes, that's true. What a frightful place, is the lady's opinion. And I've heard it's not customary to eat sashimi in Great Britain. Now that's frightful. Every country has its own cuisine. As long as people have food to eat, what does it matter what it is? True, come to think of it, the first time I tried carbonated water, it was much more of a shock than the first time I tried beef. And I remember that episode of Deep Space Nine, where Garin, I think his name is, he has root beer for the first time. Classic scene. Go look it up on YouTube if you haven't seen it. But anyway, back to this witness's statement. Somehow, I feel like there's something out of place in what she's saying. We need to pounce on even the slightest thing now, because you never know what might lead us to our goal. Our goal of turning this trial around. Yes, the turnabout.
Understood, Kazuma.
So the obvious contradiction here is the photo that shows only 1 glass, because if that table was left the way that it was, where's the second glass? What meaning that has, I ain't got a clue. Do we want to press the rest of this? I don't know. I feel like it's going to take forever. Let's just go for what we know is the answer. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be it. Because where's the other glass?
Yes!
Yep, music stopped. Now what this is going to lead to, I have no idea. But hey, nitpicking it is. Bluff time. The Ace Attorney way.
That's it. Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene, that it was exactly as it was left.
That is correct, the lady says.
Well, it's odd. Very odd. Oh, dear me, dear me. What's odd is the defense's inability to express itself.
Ryunosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you?
Well, obviously, it's the Cheers.
I love that show.
The Cheers?
Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. Yeah, waiter boy, what's up with that?
You're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here.
Objection!
Clearly, you're innocent. Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over minutiae? What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make on the case?
Objection!
Minutia, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence?
Of course not. I would never do something so reckless.
I would never remove a glass, just an entire witness.
But there should be 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try to tell me you can clink with only 1?
What is the sound of 1 glass clinking? You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table.
What?
It was all so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she said.
Good gracious.
Is it because she hid the glass in her bag and that's going to prove that she had space for a gun? Is it going to be along those lines? Gomen. Gomen asai.
Then, as I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all.
Oh, please.
We must remember that this student has just murdered this lady's lunch companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or two in her state of disarray?
That's absurd.
Oh, really? So do we take it that you are now going to accuse this vulnerable, young, and beautiful woman of mischief? I have not yet begun to White Knight.
No. This can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. This may lead into how she concealed the gun. It would seem that she slipped into a small handbag she was carrying. One that's not on her now? A handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellency. A small handheld pouch, commonly carried by well-to-do women in England. They just not heard of handbags before.
So the beautiful young lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case.
But the handbag does.
This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning. How dare he? But at the end, it comes to nothing. No more pretentious accusations. You've wasted enough time already.
Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed the glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement? Hells to the nah.
Well, I don't really know, but
if you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance.
Yeah, you're right.
So she took the glass away in her handbag. If there's a deeper significance there, it's the handbag. Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say?
Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items.
Let's see, are guns small items? A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag, in which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right! Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that, too.
What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard?
It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire that gun, we can deduce that there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will.
You can't seriously be suggesting.
Inspector Hosonaga. Yes?
Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder?
No, sir. I did not. As I thought.
In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill a professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag. No! Stop accusing my girlfriend!
Order, order, order!
What is the meaning of this, Inspector?
The meaning of what, Professor Elchi?
Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations.
Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask.
Do you think so, Kazuma?
Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly, you have no faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting, simply because it was unnecessary. Unnecessary in what way? I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print. This print is of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. Well, I see the little thing on his wrist already. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Well, I never. You can see right through to what's inside. So how did you not know she took the glass? That should have been like automatic, come on. That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. We just love having zero privacy. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. Surely there's some other pocket in that thing. Handbags have like 20 little compartments. As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san. Order! Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once. Certainly, Your Excellency. I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance except for the thing that I immediately noticed on the dude's wrist, I am satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling.
Indeed, and there is only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime. Ugh.
No, now you say no. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around. I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue.
What? You mean this is it? Yeah. I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student. But the weak are meat, which the strong eat. You are wasting your time. There's no way to defeat true justice. In fact, you can chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell.
This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma, his dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. I'm not actually sure what the out is here. Kazuma, what? Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest. I don't know about that. Which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue. I'm not sure what the significance of the mark on the wrist is, but it's there. Very well, I will now proceed immediately to the ruling.
It seems we will be able to report to the British government on time after all. Or not, because Psy'Min delayed the stream 3 days.
That smug little... Ryunosuke Naruhodo, having considered all of the evidence placed before me. Yes, I did it. Wait, Your Excellency. Ryunosuke? I don't think you can rule on this case yet. This amateurist is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of this courtroom. Yes. Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now, that means if there was a problem with that evidence, some significant detail, I mean, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question. This is blatant straw clutching. Look at the photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on the day in question. That's why it's tucked in the corner like that. There can be no problem with this evidence. You'd better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. Bluffing my ass off. I understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. Not that it needs much. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag. What would this mean? That mark on his hand. Obviously, he burned his hand on the skillet. But how? Or... The fact that he's facing forward, does he not feel pain because of the anesthetic from the dental? I don't see why that would be the case. We'll see where this goes. My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes. Not like I'm wheezing myself. Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. Very well, I will grant the defense one final opportunity. What? But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. So, take another look at this photographic print. This is a lot of build-up for what's fairly obvious. This photographic print Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. Fairly obvious, but what does it mean? You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail to which you've alluded. It's not significant. It's just... I don't even know. It's this. It's got to be this. I don't know why it matters, though. I guess we'll find out.
Yes!
Look at this here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. Piffle is such a great word. A burn, you say? On the victim's wrist? Clearly it had nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag. Yes, that is a burn mark. You're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report.
What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either.
Except for the fact that it's on the skillet.
The more I look at it, the more I might find myself...
Oh, bad voice? The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, as Prosecutor Ouchi pointed out, unless a firm connection to this case can be shown, who gives a crap? I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. He touched the skillet, so what? Excuse me, Your Excellency. Seems Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now.
No, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway.
What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging in the hope that I might uncover something useful. Yes, you're right.
I am.
If we can just link that burn to the case, if we can do that, we might be able to press this shutting door back open again. That's a word?
Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Indeed, I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then would you allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn.
How?
But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Her face has color? Really?
I have to find some link between that burn and the case.
Still not sure why it matters.
This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means.
So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial. Well, we just need a picture of the... Yeah, there it is. Do we have anything better? Nope. Wouldn't be this. Wouldn't be that. Wouldn't be that. Wouldn't be that. It's got to be that. All right.
Yes!
What's this, Counsel? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at the scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forever.
Do hurry it up, rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further really would be quite inexcusable.
Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer, if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
Maybe he was poisoned in some way and he wasn't feeling anything, or maybe he was dead before he even got shot.
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is it in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
The thing that's literally exactly the same shape.
Yes! The beefsteak?
Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plate?
Ah! Your Excellency, are you alright?
Hey, it's in color, finally. As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of Le Carnaval. This emblem on the plate and the victim's burn are exactly the same shape. Ryunosuke, you genius! What does it mean? I have no idea. You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection! But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time.
Well, Sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances of that are extremely slim.
Why?
The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But...
It's a pretty bad burn. I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And, although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of the Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation.
But you're a detective, not a waiter!
I'm still there, asshat.
Yes! There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burned themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that.
And yet Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream, not on that day or any before it.
That's right, and the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either.
What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day, that would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, the old antiques dealer, all of us would, without any question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Professor Ouchie? Prosecutor Ouchie. I've called him Professor Ouchie a few times. I'm just reading too fast. I keep saying Professor Ouchie when I mean Prosecutor Ouchie.
Well, I mean, yeah, I suppose, maybe, kinda.
So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? Also, why is there no period after doctor? I almost don't believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think? Was he poisoned? And then the gunshot was just a cover. Surely the autopsy would pick that. Well, I guess they don't do autopsies. They do examinations.
Can it really be true? I never dreamed we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap.
There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson... I don't think he was asleep. Was he already deceased? No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible, apart from one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead. Which clears me totally. Because he was dead before I got there. Up yours.
Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation.
When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead.
That's madness!
Which would also explain why she took the glass. If there was poison in it, then she wouldn't want to leave that evidence. Order, please, counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot.
That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student. But clearly he has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
No, Professor Ouchie, it's you who have no grasp of the facts.
I beg your pardon?
As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe that this victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement.
But Your Excellency!
No subway for you. The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
What was that smile? Ah, here we go. Yes, of course, I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. I knew it.
Yeah, Miss Brett, you speak Japanese?
Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country, after all. But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now? Because I'm a huge racist. My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. Seriously, Ouchie, you're making my ears bleed. But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Osanaga just looks insulted.
Well, you are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us. I will continue to kiss your butt even though you have no manners whatsoever.
I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. The judge and Ouchie are the only people here that don't speak English. She could just keep speaking in English. So we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. They've been interesting for 3 hours now, dude. The victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burned his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. He was poisoned. He was poisoned, he was poisoned, he was poisoned. I said it 3 times before we even got back from the black screen. Come on, we're done. Witness testimony over. That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does it. Everyone's got brown noses in this courtroom. I hope that is the last time I will have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming language. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. Osanaga just looks crushed.
Not at all, not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. And it seems very clear from your testimony, this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant.
I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today.
The Minister of Justice?
May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Thanks. Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. Literally only 4 cross-examinations in the tutorial, even though it's going to be about 4 hours long when all is said and done. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Now, what do I have to prove poison is the weird thing. Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination. I'm going to have to do some pressing here. Unfortunately, I have no idea where the poor man's burned his wrist like that. Let's just go through the whole thing as we do. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. I don't know why I keep saying like that. There was only one steak. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please, do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I don't know. I think this could be hard work. She can speak Japanese brilliantly, but she doesn't seem to want to say very much. The more she says, the more she's likely to give away. This Englishwoman knows that only too well. She's quite formidable. Dr. Wilson's burn tells us something, I'm sure. I need to use this cross-examination to find out what. First things first, I'm going to press her on everything she said and try to make her blurt something out. What is it, Kazuma? What are you thinking? Oh, don't worry, it's nothing. Alright. Number 1. But his hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't not have noticed. Do you think so? Let me ask you something. Sorry? Ever since I arrived at this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You can't not have noticed, can you? Huh? What? Ah, I've been busted! Haha, what fun. You hadn't realized.
The dear lady's absolutely right. Your fly is undone.
As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Ryunosuke. Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing?
No, yes. I think my tiny brain can.
Yes!
Well, I can't. Anyway. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast.
Yes!
As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water. Is that right? I'm going to take a sip of my bubbly here every time it says carbonated water. Lord knows my throat's getting dry. Is that right?
Dr. Wilson was the only one. Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at that time, if you remember. Which explains why he ordered that drink. Correct, waiter?
Exactly as you say, sir. Although... Whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that. Damn you.
Yeah, I have enough English to understand that at least. For the benefit of others in the court, it means bless you.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, no kidding.
Anyway,
As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot.
Yes!
Hosonaga back to looking crushed.
Yeah, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma. Hi. Lucky for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there was no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life. But that doesn't make sense. The burn mark must have happened straight away, when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter.
Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that.
And if the victim burned his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must already have been dead at that point. And yet, the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Unless you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time.
I concur. Prosecutor Ouchie is right.
If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me.
Yes!
Without leaving a trace, if someone is shot, or strangled, or stabbed, or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police forces thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga?
As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There would be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true, but maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark.
If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? No, perish the thought. Calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question.
Every time I do Ouchie's voice, I just redline the audio so hard, and I don't even care.
On my honor, I, Takatsuchi Ouchie, will cut down any who dare cast such aspersions. A way of killing someone that leaves no trace?
We need some evidence to back us up here.
Yeah, evidence.
The way they're talking, that's probably the statement to present on. And we'll see what we got for that, but let's just press this final statement and see if we get anything else.
Inferior? What do you mean by that?
In the lands of the great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Actually, we do save everything in this one, didn't we?
Quite right. The carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident.
Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. Ah, yes, there's this function. How do I... Movie. Am I doing a tutorial now? It didn't even occur to your native detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. Yes, it did, and Hosonaga is insulted, and I need to get his opinion, but I'm not sure how to do that yet. I'm trying to be as tactful as I can about this, you understand.
A killer blow! This lady's as formidable as she's beautiful.
Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. Yeah, how do I highlight Hosonaga for that? What do you think? We've done this part. Blah, 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 blah. Yes. Kazuma, what? There is one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me. About Hosonaga. Okay, this is part of the tutorial here. It's going to explain to me how I get to select him during the witness testimony. The detective, yeah, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. If it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then, I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose. Alright. So I couldn't press him then. Whoops! And I can't press him if I go too fast either. Oh, don't do it again. Don't do it again. Don't do it again. No, I don't know. Tutorial, don't do me like that. Alright. Careful on the clicky-clicky, Psy'Min. Careful on the clicky-clicky. 4, 5.
Yes!
Now, I'm playing with mouse and keyboard. I wonder if it's going to give me some arrows.
Wait.
Wait! Wait! There it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. It's like it's scripted. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter, and looking crushed. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right, look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man in his train of thought. I forgot about this mechanic in this game. Sorry, pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right with A and D, okay, you can turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue with them with space. If you can catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere among the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then, so first I should move the marker around with AD and focus on the detective. Then pursue him with the spacebar and see what's on his mind. Wait, what's a spacebar? Wait. So, is there another way I can drag... Oh. There we go. I can just take the mouse and move it around. Hey, asshole. Look around, pursue...
Excuse me.
Excuse me. What? What's the meaning of this? Oh, you made me cough. I might have a stroke. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts, deeply. It's like a distraction, like we use in hypnosis. It looks like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say? If there's something you'd like to say, please share it with the court.
What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately.
Oh, is that how it works? Frick. Absolutely not.
Huh?
The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved with the case.
Inspector Hosonaga?
Yes?
Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett?
We did save everything.
Well, yes, if you don't mind, I would like to speak.
You put your foot in it now, lady.
The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain, which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. I am the Von Karma of investigations.
What do you really mean by that?
I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. Okay, he is more like Gumshoe than Von Karma.
A crime scene thief.
He's like Kay Faraday. I will steal the truth. All the evidence is going in my bag. Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Oh shit.
Is that...
This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. Sip time! That's my can done. You can't say it anymore. And yet, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. Hey, Brett, want to have a sip? One day, our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming. I guarantee it. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand this sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. The carbonated water bottle has been entered in the court record. That doesn't count, it's narration. Miss Brett. Can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death? Why pull out just this? Yes, it was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well, counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. I will steal everything in this courtroom. Alright, so nothing has changed. Here, okay, I was right. I am going to have to press the statement, but now I've got the evidence to do it. Let's check out our goodies here. It was on the victim's table. I don't get to inspect it. Okay, I do get to inspect it. Oh, I dropped all of it on the floor. It's useless now. The label's written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. This must be very expensive water. French carbonated water. Well, like I said, I've got the boobly right here, so that's pretty Frenchy as well. Yeah, but what does it say? That's why I'm asking. It says boobly. Then go to France and ask. Smart ass. You could just say that you don't know. Alright, does that mean I've... I can't find anything out of place. Not the label. So this carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. It looks like there's a little left in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much. I'm absolutely parched. Don't drink that. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Rinosuke, you can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? I have a funny feeling. You never cease to amaze me, Rinosuke, in more ways than one. Could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might just have worked something out. An interesting possibility. Do I get an update? I'm just going to try presenting this and hope for the best.
Yes!
Okay. It's enough to insinuate. What is this? This bottle of water? Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison.
Poison! I love that band.
On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Which is why you stole the glass, which is what I said 30 minutes ago. Order, order, order! And on that day, who was sitting at the table as the professor? Who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could possibly have done it. Giselle Brett. It was you!
Objection! This is outrageous! To suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence.
I think Suzuto is getting us some evidence, but we'll see.
You little rookie imbecile! Have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one's individual guilt with respect to one's crime.
What?
The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth. If I may,
I will silence you forever for this disgraceful... Oh, what? No!
It is you who should be silent.
Of course. Dear lady, I simp.
Where did that come from?
She just snapped.
I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, milady, to what are you referring? I described your police force as inferior, but no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not. Oh, you did inspect it and it didn't?
You did?
Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I've only said it like half a dozen times now. I strive for a flawless investigation every time.
I don't believe it.
Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. Doesn't mean you didn't slip it in his glass, though. Didn't inspect the glass because she took it. And what did you find, Inspector? I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. You said carbonated water again. I'm out of carbonated water, but I do have my coffee, so I'm going to drink that. We need more coffee in this game. Where's Gato? What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself.
No!
Why do I keep throwing myself against the wall when things don't go my way? That hurts. I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you.
But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours.
Stop making my ears bleed. I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, have I explained the burn mark yet still? The accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. We've completely forgotten about the whole 3 seconds burning. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett. Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved. Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this time? Nope, I'm pooched. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Rinosuke. I have nothing more. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving. Peace out, bitches.
Hold it!
Oh! Is that Suzuto? There we go. I keep forgetting the voice for her. Please wait. Isn't that? What is the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Suzuto Mikitoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Yeah, something they were doing at that university involved poison or something, if I'm not mistaken. Mikitoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. Oh, you've got to be shitting me. No. We're going. We're finishing this. That was a slightly shorter part than last time, but nah, we're going to get this done. Trial part 2. Is that the auto? That is the auto. Okay, we'll just save it here. We're finishing this. We're doing it all. We're getting to part 2, the second trial. We're doing it next stream. Let's make it happen. We're going back to the waiting area. Nope, we're staying in the courtroom. All right, good. We do still have a fair bit to cover, if I'm not mistaken, but I wanna wrap this up this stream. Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why this sudden ingress into my courtroom?
Huh! A judicial assistant? And a woman, no less? Oh my god! The rules state that females are not permitted into the court of law other than to testify.
All right, you're in for some bad news for the first trial of the next game, buddy. Yes, I fully understand. I ask only for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense.
Huh! You're too late, little girl. The trial has already been concluded.
That's my call, bald boy. 5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more.
But Your Excellency!
I am most grateful. Oh, you're back here now. Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, there's no time. Please, simply accept this for now. What is it? A report about something, written in English? It's Giselle Brett's research. Probably into poison. The Englishwoman. After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical facility and borrowed this paper. Oh yeah, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself. Oh, no, of course not. Special characteristics of Curer and its effects on human subjects. Interesting. There we go. Curer? What's that? I've never heard that word before.
Time's up! The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom.
That has not been 5 minutes, bastard. There was too little time for me to read it in detail, but I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it.
This is wonderful, thank you.
Goodbye then, and good luck. I shall bow out of existence again, it is my thing. You have had long enough, Council. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. It's fine. Every time you say that, I've been just handed the evidence I need to make it not be that. I ask the prosecution and the defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? For the third time, I'm asking this for the last time. I presume not, but I've been wrong twice.
The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency.
Ryunosuke, we're out of options here. This really is our very last chance.
Yeah, I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence.
If I had a chance to inspect this, hang on a second. It's in my court record now, right? Synopsis. A poison made from the bark of certain trees in the jungles of South America. The hunters of the region have used it since ancient times to incapacitate their prey. This is the Curaire. Special characteristics. Effects. Instant paralysis of the entire body and subsequent death, even in minute doses. Route of entry. The above-mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as that inflicted by a blow dart pipe. Ah, so this is... So maybe it was in the bottle, and we couldn't detect it because we didn't know about it. Or it was added to the glass later, but the thing is, it could be in both glasses and not affect Brett, because Brett didn't have a wound. But Wilson had just been to the dentist. Wilson had just been to the dentist, which meant there was a wound in his mouth where the tooth was pulled, and that's how the poison got into his body. Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed that the toxin could have application as an anesthetic. However, a solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of the full body paralysis must be found first, or patients would die of suffocation. Yeah, that seems like a pretty strong consideration there. An unknown poison. Okay, so it probably was in the bottle and they just had no way of detecting it. Again, I just get handed the perfect piece of evidence at exactly the moment that everything is starting to wrap up and the solution becomes obvious. Tutorial cases, guys. Tutorial cases. That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior who just got handed the perfect piece of evidence. Well, Miss Brett?
Yes, Your Excellency?
If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer.
It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not so very long until tea time.
I'll have to politely decline. Nope. That was not a question. I realize it was phrased as a question. However, sit your ass down.
I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense.
My apologies, dear lady. I like how that was actually phrased as a cultural misunderstanding. That was cute. Could you stay a little longer? No. Let me rephrase that. So, counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention? As is the last 3 times you asked that, the last thing I got.
Yes!
Miss Giselle Brett, we understand that you were studying under Dr. Wilson at Yumi University, doing research. Research, by sheer coincidence, perhaps, into a deadly poison. I'm not sure it's coincidence. We still don't know what her motive is for this, and I'm not sure we find out.
What?
Poison? Where are you going with this, counsel? Back to the topic a half an hour ago. A toxin known as Curaire, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death.
Objection! What complete and utter nonsense! Curaire, you say? I've never even heard of it!
You wouldn't have done.
What do you mean?
I mean that you wouldn't have heard of Curer before for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist. Correct, which means no matter what tests the police can do for toxins, they never identified Curer. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison. What? Order, order, order! Counsel, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report authored by the visiting research student from England, Curer has long been used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems that it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists.
To lace their arrows with poison?
The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle. So we are going with the idea that it was in the bottle and was undetectable. And then it was in both glasses but didn't affect her because her mouth wasn't wounded, unlike his. And it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by arrows laced with Curer suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Objection!
Trumpery! Those aspirations are utter trumpery! That's another fun word to say, trumpery! To start with, if the victims had been administered some of this so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain. The other diners would surely have noticed.
That's true. What do you say to that? We say poppycock because it paralyzes you. Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that.
I don't remember anything like that either.
I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around.
What do you mean, the other way around?
The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that Curer was used. Explain yourself, counsel. The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all.
How terrible.
Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects could go largely unnoticed.
But I don't follow, Kazuma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison causes the instant death.
The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe, it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail.
Respiration?
In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move.
This Giselle is a bitch.
Why'd you do that?
That's hideous. Why were you studying that?
To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly Curer poison. Seriously though, why were you studying that? And you're suggesting that this bottle, counsel, actually contains this terrifying poison.
Objection!
This is all very convenient, isn't it?
Well, yeah, welcome to this series.
A hitherto unknown poison for which there's no means of detesting? What a happy tale for the defense. Ahem, if I may. All these facts. You think you're so clever, but you must be taught some... Oh, fuck.
It is you who must be taught.
Of course, yes. Please step on me, Queen. Dear lady.
So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it?
What?
You steal another's honest hard work, and then announce the results as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. What a loathsome act. Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual.
Whatever you mean.
Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime? That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Objection! Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules. It's not allowed.
Ha 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 ha. What's so funny?
Oh, excuse me. Your Excellency?
Yes, Miss Brett?
May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please?
Oh, she's just gonna chug it? Oh, yeah, well, I don't see, why not?
Please allow me to tamper with the evidence.
Sure. Gotcha, fam. Oh, no, it's because she doesn't have a wound in her mouth. That's why she's doing it. Of course.
Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys. To an Englishwoman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games and these foolish courtroom antics. It's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Cheers!
And she's an expert on it, so she knows it isn't going to affect her because her mouth's not cut like Wilson's.
No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair.
We already know the answer. Wilson had a cut in his mouth, and she knew it.
Whatever's the matter? You all look like quite stunned. Check out how not paralyzed I am.
So, no cure. The bottle was clean. Is that what you're saying?
Ha 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 ha. You look quite incredulous, little boy, but of course, that's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand event, you most kind. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency. I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries.
Ah, yes, dear lady. We are most gratified with all the assistance you have given. Someone remember the cut. Someone remember the cut. This doesn't make sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle. So how? How did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? I don't understand it.
Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London.
There had to have been poison in that bottle. Doesn't there? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Even if there wasn't poison in the bottle, and even if she wasn't able to drink it just fine because she doesn't have a cut in her mouth, that still doesn't preclude the possibility of her just putting it in his glass only. But anyway. I guess that means she didn't have to steal the glass. I'm not sure if we'll come back to that or not. That bottle of water absolutely contains poison. Come the hell on. The culprit did put Carrera poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. Coffee time. We'll go through, see if I go through 17 cups before the end of this trial. The defense refuses to change its position. You're serious?
Objection! Fool! What a foolishly foolish fool to foolishly claim this foolishly foolish nonsense. Are you blind? There's no possible way that bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw
Miss Brett drinking the water from it?
That's right, which rather complicates your argument, I think. And I believe that complication can be explained.
How exactly?
I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the court record somewhere. It has to be. Very well, if the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume this supposedly poisoned water unscathed? I mean, I'm guessing it's the report itself, right? We don't need to bring up how Wilson was poisoned. She just need to explain how she wasn't. Body through a wound. Yeah, so page 2, if it asks me. It doesn't specifically say it can just be consumed, but I'm pretty sure that's the answer. The answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report.
That's not a valid explanation.
No?
After all, we don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. This impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency.
You and the judge are the only ones here who don't speak English. I'm not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. I'm just reading Susada-san's notes. I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. Ah, you are going to ask me for the page. You will direct us to the pertinent section, counsel. Which section of the report reveals the alleged answer to this riddle? I'm going to say the second one is the second one. We've been hearing a lot about this Curare poison, and it's left me curious about something. Oh, counsel? Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years to lace the heads of the arrows that they shoot at with whatever prey they're hunting. I have a feeling what he's going to bring up now, and I was thinking this earlier, is it going to be brought up how you can eat the animals that have been poisoned if they're poisoned? And the answer is, well, you can poison them with wounds, and that kills them, but you can eat the meat because that doesn't enter the body through wounds. It just goes into your stomach. Just like Giselle did with the glass she just drank. So we've been led to believe, yes. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat.
Get to the point, please.
But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean that there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. Good gracious, counsel. No, that would be madness. But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see, that makes sense. Yes, that mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me, though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When Curare enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever.
What?
Miss Brett, you authored this research. You knew Curare's special characteristics, and you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself. There we go.
You meddling little rapscallion.
Well, Ryunosuke, it turns out her hat is alive. You're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be.
Really? Me? A lawyer? Oh, all this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure. But I fail to see how it possibly... Ah, damn it!
So, the little ill-bred puppy has a new toy to play with. Some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly.
What are you trying to say?
Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw.
Schoolboyish?
Flaw? As even your brain has managed to deduce, Curir is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric succus.
Oh, yeah, well, of course. Gastric suckers, what are they?
So if this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he?
That's right! Good gracious!
He went to the dentist.
That's basic science.
He went to the dentist.
Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand. No,
He went to the dentist. Order! Order in the court! Order! The logic holds. He went to the dentist. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way. He went to the